Okay, I've been working on a stove here, idea anyway. It's not much of a stove, it's just a little metal casing that I've found at the Goodwill store. I've tried a couple different things with it, but I noticed when testing it that it can actually work multi-purpose. It can be a very hot stove for boiling water, 2 cups of water, or it can be a simmer stove by simply changing the way you place carbon felt in it. And what I've done here is, I'm going to try and show you without blocking the camera here, is I've just taken a strip of carbon felt and stuffed it down inside of it, as you can see. And just pushed it all the way down as far as I can in there. And I've let 2 wings sort of flip out from the top of it. So I'm going to fill this with heat, methanol alcohol. Not to the complete top because it will boil over, but just about a 1/8 of an inch or a little more than that from the top. Just try and get a better view of that, so you can see about where that is there just by getting a little wiggle. So that's where I'm filling it to. And then I'm going to put a pot of water on here and bring it to a boil and show you how the wings can create a large flame under a pot. And then I'm going to turn around and show you how I can use it as a simmering device as well. I'm going to get my pot of water on top of here, and I'll be right back. Well, I've got 2 cups of water in here, I'm sorry. At 60, well, it's rising as we speak here. It was 60 a second ago, but it's 64 now already. So you can see it's kind of hot in my basement, so the temperature of the flames, we'll probably get them going here real quick here, and we'll time this. Let's set it, see it's already going to 65. It's hot in my basement. It's about 80s, 85 in my basement. I'm not really sure. I didn't take that temperature. So we're going to set this for 212, boiling temperature, and see what kind of time frame it's going to take to bring 2 cups of water from 65 to 212. Light this up. I'm going to dim the upper lights a little bit so that you guys can see the flame a little bit. Camera should readjust here. There it goes. And to get a shot of the flames, I'm going to actually take this and tilt it down for you guys real quick here, just so you can get a shot of how the flames look underneath there. It's kind of a encompassing flame that spreads out twofold. Oh, I can start the timer. So we're about 5 seconds off there, sorry. But it gives a pretty good pattern underneath there. It's a little close. I'd like to have it a little further away, but the stand I have currently is about 2 squares, so about a 1/2 inch above the base of the flame, and about a 1/4 inch above the top of the flame. So we're going to go ahead and let that run, and see how long it takes. Just now that you can see the flame, we'll turn this back on so that everybody can see the time. No, it's not going to help you with time. If I turn it that way, you can't see. And if I get out of the reflection, maybe it'll help. Actually, my reflection might have been better on it. I don't know. Yeah, so we're at about a minute now, and it's 95 degrees on there currently. And we'll let it run for the course of time it takes to burn, and then we'll see what kind of time it has on a burnout on that. I'll come back to you guys towards the end and let you see what we have towards the end. Catch you guys in just a minute. I don't know what's easier to see. Ah, there we go. So we'll get back to it when it starts to come to a boil. Alright, here we're at about, well, it's hard to see, 195, and we just hit 5 minutes. And it's climbing drastically here. I was trying to raise it up so you guys can see it better, but it doesn't seem to work until I turn it out like that. 199, we're about 5 minutes and 20 seconds. It's climbing pretty fast now. You can hear it starting to sizzle. 204, 205, 206, 207, 208, 209, 210. You can really hear it popping away in there. 211, steam's starting to roll out, and 212 at 5 minutes and 52 seconds. So that's a pretty quick burn for such a simple 5 minutes and 52 seconds. Guess I shouldn't have turned it off. Now I'll have to watch the clock time here, because I didn't keep the timer going for a burnout. And I didn't catch when the clock time was, so I'll have to put a burnout time in after I add in the excess here from the camera. Well, I can still hear it boiling, but I'm sure it's just they boil down the center of the pot. Get on the hot side. Yeah, there's just a simple little simmer in the middle of the pot there, just holding out. Alright, to switch it from simmer mode, I simply take this off, and I'm going to take, it's pretty cool down, I can touch it, take and push this tab in, and push this tab in, and that's all I'm going to do. Except I am going to add about an ounce. As I did last time, this thing holds about exactly 1 ounce of fluid total, so I'm going to go ahead and add that 1 ounce in again, and fill her up to just about 1/8 below the top. You don't want it to come all the way to the top, because as the alcohol, I just made it go all the way to the top, so I need to take a little of that back out of there. I'm going to use an empty bottle here to get some of that back out of there. There we go. Take some of that back off the top of there. And that should be ready to go then. Let's see how low I got my temperature of my water here. Sometimes it's 90 degrees in my basement. That's probably approximately right. See if I got it down low enough. If not, it's pretty low. So I went down a little further than last time, so let's give it a second in this warm air. Yeah, I dab it in the freezer for a second to try and bring the temperature down, because otherwise there's no way I can get my water down as low as 60-something degrees. So to give the same idea of how long, we'll try and wait till it can take up to 65 and just get a little swirl there. Already coming back up. Came back up to, well, let's let it fluctuate out a little bit. 67, close enough for me. Alright, we'll put this in here. I'm going to put it in from the back, that way if I need to raise this up over the top or something so it isn't catching the flame. Out of the way, I need my lighter. We'll light this up. There we go. I'm going to turn the light off once again so you can see what the flame looks like on the simmer mode. Pull up my chair, and you can see there's a much smaller flame here in the simmer mode. Start my timer. See if I can get this in the caption. There we go. It's much better up close, isn't it? Should have done that last time. Let's turn it into the light a little bit. There we go. You can see how it's just a simmer flame. Doesn't do much, but that's all I'm looking for in this test, to show that it can boil quickly or work as a simmer mode. So we'll let this go, and just watching a pot simmer is never any fun, so we'll just see how long it takes to boil, and we'll kind of turn the camera back on as it does come to a boil, just to show you how much longer it takes. And then we'll check the full time, how long it can burn 1 ounce of fuel like this. Back in, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. Alright, I just wanted to give an update here. We're at 7 minutes-ish, and we hit 130 degrees. So it took 7 minutes with this low simmer flame to get to 130 degrees. We'll give another update as it goes on here. That's where we stand right now. Alright, that's 13 minutes just passed, and we hit 190. The water's actually starting to make a little bit of a simmer sound. So I think this will actually bring it to a boil. We will see if it maintains a boil after it brings it to a boil. Alright, we're at 2:09. We're at 15 minutes and 20 seconds. 2:10. If you recall, the flame burned out at 16 minutes when we had it full open. So I don't think it'll burn out at that point, because it's been burning at a much slower pace. So the fuel should last much longer than it's in there. and it looks like we're at 212. So we've hit our temperature we needed. The buzzer's not going, but we did hit it. And we're right about 16 minutes, not quite, nothing exact there, but about 16 minutes to hit boiling. And we're going to see how long this burns for now. As I said, we burned out at 16 minutes approximately in the last test. And we're at 16 minutes now, and we just hit a boil. So we'll let it go and keep an eye on it for you. We are at 23 minutes, still maintaining a boil, 212 degrees the whole time. That's 7 additional minutes past the original burnout on the high flame. We're going to continue to watch it and see how far it will go. Well, as you can see, the flame is starting to die down. We're still maintaining a boil, but the flame is actually not touching the pot hardly at all. And we've just rolled over 25 minutes. In fact, we are actually now dropping below the boiling temperature. So roughly 25 to 25 and a half minutes of boil or simmer, which brings me to another point that I think with one filling of this, we could actually bake a cake or cakes type things like cupcakes or muffins, because 25 minutes should be more than enough time to bake something. So that's interesting. We wouldn't even need to have a second filling of fuel to do this. And it seemed to bring the temperature up enough, slowly though, but enough. And you can see at 26 we are barely holding a flame. Although the temperature does seem to still be at a boil, just barely. You can see it dropping down to 210 every once in a while as the flame flickers away from the pot. So once you have a boil, it's not hard to maintain one. I can still hear just a rough boil. Just on and off slightly, ever so slightly. And there we are, we're dropping again to 211. I will imagine it will continue to drop at this point, since the flame is just barely holding above the top of the stove device. At 27 minutes, I'm going to call it as a burnout. Alright, thanks for watching. There we have a look at how it looked in simmer mode when it was all down inside there. And I'm going to show you the other mode in just a second. I need to readjust. And there's basically how we did the boil mode. We just pulled the wick out and kind of curled it over the edges and let it run like that. Both of them held about the same amount of fuel, 1 ounce of fuel. And they did two totally different things. Boil mode gave us a boil in about 5 minutes and 52 seconds. And simmer mode took quite a bit longer than that to boil. But one lasted 16 minutes total time, and the other one lasted 27 minutes. So those are two different stoves, all built from one simple device, a candle motif type thing. Could have been done with the same thing with this, I imagine, with a fence post. Any kind of open, small container, 2 fingers across like that, 2 fingers high. Same style here, 2 fingers across, 2 fingers high, nothing major. And some carbon felt.